Did you know that inflation has become a global problem? Today I'm going to talk about inflation. Hello, this is Jagdeep, founder of Economica. Inflation refers to the persistent rise in the general price level in an economy. On an average, if you see prices of goods and services rising in the economy, we would term that condition or situation as inflation. Now, there are different types of inflation. The first type of inflation is creeping inflation, which is considered as good for economic development. The rate of the rise in price level is around 2 to 3%, and most of the economists consider it as healthy. The next type of inflation is crawling inflation, which is still not that damaging, but yes, it may be a warning sign. And here, the rate of inflation ranges anywhere from 3% to 9%. It's still in one digit. The next type of inflation is walking inflation, and it crosses the 10-digit mark, the 10 percent mark. It is in double digits. So it may range anywhere between 10 to 20%. And this is like a dangerous situation, an alarming situation where a government needs to take certain measures to take control of the inflationary spike in the prices. The next type of inflation is hyperinflation, and it is considered as a very damaging situation of the inflation, where the rate of rise ranges from 20% to 100%, and you would see generally the collapse of monetary system happening in this situation. So these are the different four types of stages of inflation, we would say, not the types but stages of inflation. There are two major causes that would give rise to inflation. The first is cost push inflation, and the second is demand pull inflation. Let's take a look at what each of these two are. So, when we talk about demand pull inflation, it is the situation when aggregate demand in the economy would increase the overall aggregate supply in the economy. So, there would be a situation of shortage in the economy, and that would lead the prices to go up. Certain reasons for demand pull inflation to occur is certain factors that contribute to demand pull inflation are maybe the rise in the population, maybe the rise in income levels in the country, or there's a high monetary supply available in the economy. So these reasons could contribute to high demand pull inflation in the economy. People would spend more, they have more spending ability, they would spend more, and there the demand rises in the economy and the supply falls short. That's where the prices tend to rise, and that's where demand pull inflation comes into picture. The next type of inflation is cost push inflation. The name itself indicates it's cost oriented inflation. So, whatever factors contribute to the rise in the cost of production of goods and services, which in turn leads to rise in the prices of goods and services, would lead to cost push inflation. So, this is more from the supply side of the economy. Now, when we talk about effects of inflation, there are various segments where inflation hits the economy. The first segment here is the production segment. So, when we talk about production, since all the producers are profit oriented, they would allocate all the resources in production of those goods and services which are yielding very high profits. So, there are possibilities that a lot of resources could be allocated towards luxuries, which are definitely not that much needed in the economy as compared to necessities. So, resources would be misallocated in production of highly profitable goods as against essential goods. Another thing is it would lead to a lot of hoarding and black marketing in the economy, because obviously there is shortage, so you would expect a further rise in the prices. That means more profitability for the producers, so they may resort to these illegal activities. Another thing is compromise on quality. So quality of goods and services may fall during inflation because everything is rising, right? So people may want to compromise on the quality because it would keep the cost of the production for goods and services a little on the lower end, and that's where the quality would get compromised during inflation. The segment where inflation hits is on the salaried or fixed income group people. Now, the speed in which the prices are rising is much faster. The rate of increase in prices is much faster than the rate of increase in the salary or the wages or the earnings of people. So they feel the brunt of it at its worst. They are the worst hit categories because they have to literally cut down on the quantities of goods and services that they are producing. This happens because obviously the value or the purchasing capacity of money falls, and they are not able to buy enough goods and services with the same amount of money that they were able to prior to inflation. Let's take a look at the inflation rates around the world in this current year, which is 2022. Canada has a 6.9% inflation rate. US has 7.7% inflation rate. UK has 10.1% inflation rate. India has around 7.4% inflation rate, and Australia has 7.3% inflation rate. Now, all these rates are much higher than their target inflation rates. Hence, the opening statement, it has become a global issue. What do you think? Is inflation really good for a country? If you like my video, please like, subscribe my channel. Thank you, and meet you in the next video. Cheers. Bye now.